Welcome to a special edition of From the Core. I'm Jackie.
I'm Elizabeth, and we're members of the Mayor's Youth Corps class of 2009.
Our show is going to focus on tastes that you can actually taste.
That's right. We're going to teach you the best way to eat healthy, even in the midst of your busy schedules and society's dangerous food.
So sit back, relax, and put down the potato chips because it's time for a special edition of From the Core.
What are some hazards we need to keep an eye out for when it comes to living our lives? The list goes on and on, doesn't it? There are hazards on the road when we're driving, in a parking lot at night, and with anything containing wires. But do you ever consider the food you eat could be a hazard too? Joining me in the studio today to discuss some of these delicious dangers is nutrition specialist Mary Keith. So I wanted to start by asking you how you would define a food hazard.
A food hazard is mostly something that gives us either just more calories or more fat, sugar, salt, one of the dangerous things, than it does give us good nutrients at the same time. So it's something that's really out of balance.
Okay, and what are some of the most common mistakes that Americans make with these food hazards?
We eat too much of them.
Okay.
Because they taste so good.
And what are probably the most obvious ones that we should be aware of?
Well, probably the two things that do the most damage for us is too much fat and too much salt.
Right.
And the fat is really, really everywhere in our foods.
Fruits and vegetables. Why are they so important?
Well, we can start with the obvious thing. They're brightly colored. And we hear about antioxidants, phytonutrients, all these things that fight cancer, fight Alzheimer's, keep our blood pressure down, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of those are colors. So the reds, the greens, the blues, the purples, those all have active benefits for us. Besides that, they're the best source, the only source of some of our vitamins, a lot of other vitamins, and there's a lot of minerals in there. And we can't forget the fiber, because besides what Grandma used to say that it would, keep us regular, we know that fiber helps to lower cholesterol. Fiber helps, we're not sure exactly how, helps to bring down blood pressure, certainly helps a lot to manage, to modulate the sugar in our blood. So they're solid nutrition.
How can these fruits and vegetables affect our mood?
Well, there's no evidence that one fruit or one veggie is going to automatically take you up or bring you down. But certainly, because of all those vitamins, minerals, the phytonutrients, the colors, and these other things in there, we do know that a lot of them affect actually the brain chemistry, what's going on molecule to molecule in our brains. So when we're not getting them, our brains aren't going to work as well. When we do get them and get them in a good balance, our brains are going to work better. When our brains work better, the rest of us feels better as well.
Would you say that there's a benefit to actually eating the physical fruit or vegetable instead of drinking the juice like V8 or orange juice?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's two things that happen with fruits. One of them is if we squeeze out the juice and throw the rest of it away, well, right there we've thrown away the fiber. And we've thrown away some of the vitamins, some of the minerals that are associated with the fiber. Even in the big juicer things that just, chew it all up, and they say, well, you get all the fiber. But what we lose there a lot of times is vitamin C, for sure, and a lot of those phytonutrients, those colors and pigment kinds of things, because when we chop it up and whip it all up in there, we're exposing it to a lot of air. And vitamin C is a real wimp when it comes to air. Hit it with air, hit it with heat, it keels over and dies. And so even though we're drinking the juice, we're not getting the same amount of vitamin C. The other thing that happens is if I gave you a glass of juice, say that big,
Okay.
how many oranges or how many apples do you think it would take to make that much?
2, 3.
Okay. Now, how easy is it for you to get, now I just have a milk bottle here, but how easy is it for you to get a bottle of juice that big and chug it?
Very easy.
Very easy. But would you eat 6 apples,
No.
9 apples, ding, 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 one right after another?
Probably not.
So what you get from the juice is all the sugar and all the acid, and a lot more sugar and acid than you would normally have gotten if you were actually eating one apple after another.
It's a pretty big difference.
It's a huge difference.
What are some what people call super veggies or super fruits that we should always have in our diets?
I don't think there is any particular one.
Really?
I mean, for all the claims, yeah, you can find, the latest one I was reading about was the goji berry.
Wow.
And then there was the acai berry, and then there was the pomegranate, this and that and everything else. Well, most of the studies that have been done have either been done in a test tube or in an animal, a bunch of animals, a few animals, or maybe in a few people, but there's no evidence that there's any single one of them that has any greater benefit than simply a good variety of all of our regulars. And when, the price differential is humongous for one of the new exotics or a bottle of the new exotic juice compared to a bag of apples or even a dish of pre-chopped pineapple, we're much better off getting the variety of the regular stuff than trying to get it all in one, because it doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way.
Mrs. Keith, we have so much to talk about, but right now we're going to take some questions from our studio audience.
It's good.
Elizabeth, I'm here with Monica, and she has a question for Miss Keith.
What do you think about canned foods?
Canned foods in general are just as nutritious, sometimes some parts of the year even more nutritious than the stuff that we buy fresh, but you have to read the label. If you're buying vegetables, you want to look for the no salt added. If you're buying fruit, you want to buy things that are canned either in juice or in light syrup, because the stuff in heavy syrup, that's just tons of sugar that they added in.
Elizabeth, we have another question from Stephanie.
Hi, yes.
Hi.
They always say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Why is that exactly?
It is, and I would agree, because you've just gone 7, 8, 10 hours, however many hours of sleep you got, without putting any food into your brain. So if you get up and try to go to school, try to go to work, your body is working on an empty tank. You don't have the energy there. And when your brain is not getting the sugar, your brain is the part of your body that must have some sugar. So if you didn't put any food in, your liver is desperately trying to make enough sugar to keep your brain functioning. And it's enough to keep your body moving, but you're not sharp. You're not learning. So something, anything, is better than nothing at all. Now, hopefully it's not going to be a Mountain Dew and a cheese Danish, but even that's better than absolutely nothing. Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And let's continue on with our interview now.
Okay.
What can you tell us about portion control?
Well, probably the biggest thing, the biggest problem that most of us have, the biggest mistake that most of us make, is we eat portions that are too big. How many of you have ever eaten an Olive Garden? You ever eaten an Olive Garden?
I have once, actually.
Do you remember how big the plate of spaghetti is?
It was pretty big. I've seen the
Pretty big.
commercials.
You want to take a
Large.
guess on how many half-cup servings on average, and not just in Olive Garden, but I should say in a lot of the spaghetti places in general. How many half-cup servings do you think they put on a plate there?
4, 5,
How about 11?
11.
That's double what most of us need.
That's insane.
And that's not even counting the garlic sticks.
Oh, wow. And that's what you eat.
Right. So for most of us, portion size is the big problem.
Wow.
And what I brought here are just some samples. Nobody wants to walk around carrying a measuring cup.
No.
We're not going to walk around carrying a scale.
No.
But everybody knows how big a deck of cards is, right? That's about 3 ounces. So if you need 5 to 6 ounces of meat in a day, you need a whole deck of cards plus either another deck of cards or at least part of one. We all kind of eyeball that. Everybody knows how big a computer mouse is, right?
Right.
That's about a half a cup.
Mm-hmm.
So if we need a cup and a half of veggies, that's 3 of those.
Wow.
In a day. If we need 2.5 cups of, that's a cup and a half of fruit, 2.5 cups of vegetables, that's 5 of those in a day. And it doesn't make any difference if it's canned, if it's cooked, if it's raw, if it's frozen.
Wow.
It all counts.
And now we're going to talk about fats, which I found really surprising when we talked about this before the show, these here.
Okay.
Tell us about the difference between these 6 chicken nuggets and this grilled chicken. I found shocking.
Well, we say that a baseball or a deck of cards is about 1 serving.
Right.
So that's about a chicken breast. That's 1 serving of chicken. Now, how you get that chicken makes a big difference. If you just eat a plain old chicken breast, grilled, you're getting about this much fat. If you put it in a grilled chicken sandwich from fast food place, you're getting about that much fat. But if you choose to dip it in breading and then fry it, you're getting that much fat. For the same amount of protein, the same amount of vitamins and minerals. Wow. It's just you just loaded it with all kinds of fat. If you eat a baked potato, you get 0 fat. You eat a large fries, this is actually a 3-ounce fry, so I think it's probably a small. You get that much fat. Now, if you eat 1 large fries a day for a month, that is how much weight you gain.
Oh, this is huge. And this is on
pass
you.
it around.
Okay. Here, Franklin.
And I'm going to show you what it looks like when you turn that weight into fat.
Oh, wow. That's not pretty.
One large fries a day for a month will put that much fat on you.
Wow. Oh, this is heavy as well. I don't want to carry this around.
Right?
No.
And you certainly don't want it in your arteries.
I don't.
Plug things up. So make your healthy choices.
That's just 1 month.
That's 1 month. Mm-hmm.
That's bad.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming here and talking to us today. It was great, and I think we all learned a lot. I think now we all understand the importance of watching what we eat. Stay tuned. From the Core, we'll be right back.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov and let the journey begin.
Welcome back to From the Core. It's important to remember to eat healthy, but 1 cookie won't kill you. FTC's Sam Mount recently spent some time with Katie Yerkes, a member of the Mayor's Youth Corps class of 2009. The two headed off to the kitchen to whip up a great snack on the sweeter side. Take a look.
Today we join Katie Yerkes as she bakes something sweet for her Mayor's Youth Corps friends. Let's head to the kitchen.
Katie is a whiz in the kitchen, and today I helped her make some peanut butter cookies. In fact, cooking is second nature to her.
I think it's fun and pretty easy. If you can read, you can cook. Plus, everyone always likes sweets.
Katie also told us about the many extracurricular clubs she's involved with.
I'm involved with Mi Alpha Theta, which is a mathematics honor society, French honor society, youth in government, which is all about government and mock legislation, science club, we do competitions with other schools in the county, Quill and Scroll honor society, which is for journalism students because I'm a member of our newspaper. A lot of different clubs, wow. Very involved.
As we continued to prepare the cookies, Katie and I talked about what she planned to study in college.
I plan to major in biology with a pre-med focus and then go on to medical school. I've always loved science. It's been my favorite subject in school for as long as I can remember, and I never really wanted an office job, and I think a doctor would be the perfect way to combine those two things and have a fulfilling job that really helps people.
Over the summer, Katie interned at a local hospital. She told us a little about her experience.
I was part of the junior intern program at the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital, and I was stationed in the ER, so I got to be there every day and help the doctors and nurses and really get to see what they do.
Then we talked about her National Merit Scholar semifinalist status and how that would affect her in college.
Before you become a Merit Scholar or a semifinalist or a finalist, you have to take the PSAT, correct?
Correct. You take that in October or November of your junior year.
Okay. And how did you prepare for that?
Well, I had taken the actual SAT before I took the PSAT, so I think that definitely prepared me. Also, my school, Freedom High School, requires that your freshman and sophomore year you take the PSAT when it's administered as practice for your junior year. Well, if I become a finalist, which I've already applied for, schools will give scholarships for being a National Merit finalist, and that will help pay off tuition and books and different things.
Katie also offered some valuable advice for other teens who will be taking the PSAT.
My biggest piece of advice would be not to freak out. I have a lot of friends who get pretty bad test anxiety, and I think that really inhibits their ability to perform well on the test.
Katie Yerkes is a well-rounded member of the Mayor's Youth Corps. At the close of our interview, the cookies finished baking, and not only did they look delicious, but they tasted fantastic too.
Wow, those cookies look fantastic. I'm sure they tasted amazing too. Sam and Katie, thanks for reminding us that even cookies are okay in moderation. I think most of us here now have a better understanding about what we should eat to remain healthy. I think we also understand that this is often easier said than done. This is especially true for college students who have limited time, money, and equipment. Well, who better to ask than college students themselves? From the Corps is so excited to have University of Tampa students Erin Van Valkenburg and Isabel Caratoro. Thank you very much for joining us today.
It's good to be here.
So to start off, just let me know, are you healthy eaters?
Yes, I am.
No, I don't think so. I consider myself not to be a very healthy eater because I just don't have any time, basically. So I eat McDonald's.
Time has been your biggest obstacle and why you don't eat healthy.
Yes.
But you are a healthy eater.
Yes.
How have you overcome time challenges?
Time challenges is just stay focused on, I have a desire to be healthy and to remain healthy. So I don't let time get in the way. And although there are options that are faster, like fast food, because they're quick, when you have a low budget, they're a little bit less expensive than eating a little healthier. And, it really helps a lot of students, but, they don't realize that it isn't helping them in the long run. And I try to stay focused, and I make meals myself, and I do a lot of cooking in my own place, and that's one of the ways I'm able to overcome obstacles such as time limitations and budgets.
How much time would you say you spend on cooking each week?
Each week, probably it depends. There are quicker meals that are faster. It could take 15 minutes to make dinner, or it could take an hour. It really depends on how much time I have on a given day, because a college student doesn't have a set schedule. Every day is different.
What about you? How much time do you think you spend on your food?
Sometimes I cook just so that I don't have to pay that much to eat outside, because it really is expensive to eat outside. And so that's maybe why I compensate with McDonald's or something, just to eat something like that. But if I had to cook, and I do cook quite a lot actually, I'd have to say maybe 5-7 hours, which is a lot for me because I really don't have any time.
Wow.
So yeah, because that's every single day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. If I have to take it on a little bowl, that even, that's more time for me. She lives quite close to school, so I live 35 minutes away. I have to bring everything with me, so that's the problem, basically.
You mentioned cost. How much money would you say you spend on food each week?
I hope my parents aren't watching this. If I have to eat in school, a day, today, basically, I get here at 8, 9, so I try to have breakfast at home, but I didn't have any breakfast. I didn't have time for it. So then maybe $10 in lunch just to eat, not to eat at McDonald's, and then, dinner would be maybe like $10 more, maybe like $20 a day.
Wow. What about you?
Well, I try to go to the grocery store, and I go about once every 2 weeks, and I try to make that last the best that I can. And I'll spend anywhere from $75 to $150 on groceries for 2 weeks. And I do have a roommate that I share with, and we split the groceries down the middle. So we get a little bang for our buck there. And we try to make the groceries last for 2 weeks the best we can. And so that way we don't spend quite as much on eating out and things, eating on campus, which can be more expensive.
Do you think college campuses and the food that they offer, do you think college promotes healthy eating?
I would say that it is getting better, to bring a brighter side to the subject. They are trying to focus more on healthy eating and eating habits, but there will always be your place where you can get your fried foods and the things that you crave as a college student, especially with such late hours that we have.
I don't think so. Basically, there's, for example, University of Tampa has the cafeteria. And if you go to the cafeteria, it's like $9 to eat in there if you're a commuter, if you don't have a meal plan. And so you eat in there, and it's a salad. You can get your salad, okay, it's a salad bar. But there's also the pizza right beside it. And there's also, like, sandwiches and, like, the classics where you can get your mac and cheese, your mashed potatoes. So the college student's going, salad? I'm going to go for my mac and cheese, excuse me,
sense.
Especially at 10 at night or something, like around those times where you're like, no, I'm going to get my nuggets or my hamburger,
So if you have all of that, what advice do you have for incoming college students who really want to stay healthy despite all of the temptation in college campuses?
Well, I would say that the first thing is motivation. If you're motivated to stay healthy, that is going to be your key target. And if you lack motivation, you're going to give in to the college, to everything that you see, especially coming from home where you might have your family cook for you, someone in your family cooks, maybe something healthier. You go in and you're making choices on your own now. You're deciding what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat of it. And if you're able to set a guideline for yourself, you're going to, and know your limitations. Everybody is different. Some people can eat lots of fast food while others cannot. So if you know your limitations and you set a schedule for yourself, you're going to be more likely to succeed at remaining healthy.
Thank you both very much for joining us today. Coming up, we're going to show you how to make gourmet meals with some unsuspecting tools. Stay with us.
There's a place not so far away, a place where you don't have to keep the volume down. You'll find all sorts of creatures in this place without have to. The silly you, the proud you. You may even meet the curious you.
It's tickling me! You!
Ask your parents to take you to this not-so-far-away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org.
A major problem for many college students is that not only are they running low on time and money, many students are running low on appliances. This doesn't pose a big problem for those who have off-campus housing, but students in dorms struggle sometimes with finding a way to cook the food. Fortunately, most colleges allow microwaves on their campuses. These small gadgets are commonly used to heat up Hot Pockets and frozen TV dinners. But did you know you can actually prepare an entire gourmet meal from scratch in your own microwave? Well, you can, and Erin and I are going to show you how.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you so much.
So what we have here is called an all-in-one spaghetti.
Right.
And what you do is you cook the onions, and then you add the beef, and you cook the beef.
Okay.
And then you add the sauce, and you add extra water. So what we're doing is we're actually going to cook the spaghetti in the sauce. So if you wouldn't mind helping me break up the spaghetti. So now, we were talking during the break, and you were telling me about your story. Could you explain to the audience what that is?
Yes, actually, from about 4th grade until I was a sophomore in high school, I was very overweight, and the doctors really didn't know what it was. I mean, I didn't have a thyroid problem or any type of medical condition, and I was just simply overweight. And sophomore year in college, at the end of it, I was a little bit tired of it, and I decided that I was going to change something because I could only see myself getting worse if I didn't fix it then. So I made the decision that I was going to put myself on a healthy track. And so I started exercising, and I changed my eating habits immensely. And slowly, over 2 years, I was able to lose 60 pounds.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes. So, and it's a lot of people they don't believe it. And then I pull out a picture and then they do. So
Wow.
what's next on the step?
So what we're gonna do is we need to just get all of the spaghetti underneath, and it's okay if it breaks, underneath the pasta sauce, because what's gonna happen is it's going to cook in the sauce, and the spaghetti is going to absorb the water, and then you're left with a really good consistency of the sauce.
Okay.
So all we're gonna do is cover all this up, and if you could get some saran wrap,
Absolutely.
that's gonna keep the moisture locked in and help it all to cook a little better.
All right.
Okay?
This way. I think it's this way.
Yep. And what we want to do is we just want to vent it a little bit.
Okay.
Right there. Make sure this is tightly wrapped. And if you could stick that in the microwave for me for 9 minutes.
9 minutes. All right.
And then after 9 minutes, you take it out, you'd stir it up, you'd put it in for another 9 minutes, and then you would have all-in-one spaghetti.
Wonderful.
In the interest of time today, even though it really doesn't take very long, we have one that we finished. And what you do is when it's done, you just take off the saran wrap and you add Parmesan cheese.
And then you have a gourmet meal.
All-in-one spaghetti with meat sauce.
Wonderful. It looks delicious too.
So that's one of the things that you can make in your microwave. What are some of the things that you made when you were in a college dorm?
Well, also with the interest of time, there are smarter options now with Smart Ones. Healthy Choice has just come out with one of the shakers where you are able to add the water, cook it in a microwave, and then drain the water and then add the sauces and stick it back in the microwave for a little bit longer, and you have a meal right there, which is really fast, less than 3.5 minutes, I can tell you.
Wow.
You know, lean pockets are always a good idea, and oatmeal is a staple I always have because it's great for breakfast. You can have it for lunch, you can have it for a snack, and it's healthy for you. It's good for you in so many ways.
So, do you ever eat chocolate pudding?
Absolutely.
This is an amazing chocolate pudding recipe, and you can do it all in the microwave. It's 3/4 of a cup of milk, and today we've used skim milk to cut the calories. It's a little better for you. And you add cornstarch, you add chocolate chips, and you throw it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes. Once that's done, you mix it all up, and then you add some salt and a little bit of sugar. Sometimes you don't need sugar, that's more of your own taste preferences. You put it back in the microwave, and then you have chocolate pudding.
Sounds wonderful.
Is that something that you could see yourself eating?
Absolutely.
As a college student?
Absolutely. It satisfies the chocolate craving and the sugar craving, but it's, you've been able to keep it low calorie by doing skim milk instead of whole milk or vitamin D milk, which is something that would be something that I would eat.
Well, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for all your help today.
Thank
Elizabeth, you have got to come over here and taste this.
I'm so excited.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay. I've got to try this. I've been eyeing it from over there. That was good.
Is it?
It's delicious.
Well, thank you so much, Erin, for all
you.
your help and for being here today. We'll be right back to wrap up after this break. If you'd like to make any of the dishes featured on our show, all of the recipes can be found online. Just go to tampagov.net and search From the Core. Here you can catch up on any episodes you may have missed. You can also email us here at From the Core at myc@tampagov.net. What a perfect way to end the meal.
That reminds me, I believe it's time to end the show.
I believe you're right. Thanks again to all our guests and our studio audience for joining us today. How's the food?
Great! Yeah.
Remember to watch out for those food hazards.
Eat plenty of fruits and veggies.
And don't let busy schedules and the absence of an oven stop you from eating great food.
Also remember,
wherever you are, whatever you're doing, always do your part.
Please join us next time for another delicious edition of
From the Core!